Guys, it's Friday, April 17th, and unfortunately I have a sad update. Last Saturday, my cat was diagnosed with lymphoma. He spent a few days in the hospital just because of how quickly he became sick and how sick he was at that point. And then he started chemotherapy and was discharged on Tuesday. Unfortunately, he was in pretty bad shape at that point, and it was very heartbreaking watching him in that state. When he died on Wednesday, it was extremely sad, obviously, but there's also a big sense of relief that he is no longer suffering. I'm still conflicted about the decision that I made to have him undergo chemo. All things considering, it probably wasn't the right decision. He was just too sick and his cancer was progressing too fast. And even though the doctors were hopeful, it just wasn't meant to be. Now, I was never a cat person. I do love all animals, obviously, but I've always connected more with dogs. And this cat that I had found in the parking lot at my old job was not the first cat I found, because apparently the cat distribution system was handing them out for a few years already. But every cat, or rather kitten before that I found, I was able to find a good home for. But this particular cat and I really connected. And I do wish that he had lived a long and healthy life, but that was not the case. I have taken a couple of days of doing absolutely nothing just to kind of recover from everything, from the cat's passing and from all the stress and drama that preceded that in the weeks that he was ill. But it's time to try and get things back on track just a little bit. I wasn't doing great before the cat got ill. I was kind of in a pretty bad slump. And then during his illness, obviously everything just kind of went out the window and I was mainly focused on that. During all this time, I haven't been keeping up with any of my goals or my planning, or even sometimes basic self-care tasks. So to say the least, my house is pretty messy. I did do a little bit of cleaning the day the cat passed because he was on chemo. That medication would pass through his system, so anywhere that he would use the bathroom or anywhere that he would potentially spread that needed to be disinfected with bleach. And so I had done all of that right then and there because I have to consider the other cat that I have in the house. That cat is a foster cat that I've had for a long time, and luckily it so happens that I may have a potential adopter for him now, which would work out amazingly because that family has another cat and I think he would do best in a home with another cat. He needs a buddy, and everything that's been happening here with my cat's illness and, you know, all the unfamiliar smells, the hospital visits for the other cat and things like that, I think that's been very stressful for him. So I'm hoping that within the next few days we can have the foster cat in a new home. As sad as I am that the house will be quiet, I think that's the best situation for him. But regardless of all of that, there's still a lot in the house that needs cleaning. I have already started this morning running some laundry. Like I said, I am trying to wash all the bedding from my bed just because that's an area where the sick cat had contact with because he was quarantined to my bedroom. So I am trying to do a pretty deep clean in there. So I'm starting with all the laundry. I also have run out of coffee mugs again. My dishwashing area is overflowing. The counters are filled. I was trying to get started on that right before the cat passed. Basically, I wanted to clean up the kitchen because I would need to deal with a lot of medications and stuff. So I needed that area to be clean, but I didn't get to it in time. So right now it's just even more crazy than it was then. I do have a friend of mine stopping by today. She had been reaching out, you know, with support and stuff, and wanted to know if I needed any help or if, you know, just to hang out. And even though I didn't want to bother her, I ultimately decided to ask her to come over if she had the time, just because I kind of needed to get out of this rut of like sitting on the couch and binging Netflix and kind of ignoring life, and also find some motivation to get stuff done. And I know from past experience that the motivation of somebody coming over is always great to help me straighten up. So even though this friend would normally come and help me clean, today I guess I want us to hang out. But I do want to have that deadline of her coming over in maybe half an hour, 45 minutes, and try and get some things done before she does. So while the laundry is running, I want to do a little bit of dishes. I know I won't be able to do all of them, but maybe half of them I can get done today. I do want to water my plants. That is one thing I have definitely neglected maybe in the last 3 weeks or so. It's been that long since I watered them, and some of them are doing better than others, obviously. So that is absolutely a priority. And then if I have any time left over, I'll just try and straighten up in the living room just a little bit before my friend gets here. And that might be all for today because I do want to go to work later. And honestly, I don't have a lot of energy for much more. But honestly, if I can get all of that done, that's going to be a good start. And tomorrow's another day. Here is the miserable before of my dirty dishes in my sink. I actually even have some clean stuff over there that needs to get put away first, but let's try and reduce this a little bit. Okay, it's been about 20 minutes and here's the situation. This is everything that I was able to wash and comfortably fit on there. I do still have some things here in the sink and just a few items next to the sink. I'm really hoping that I can get back to this tomorrow. That way I can actually clear everything and start fresh, making new dirty piles next week. And now for my parched plants. As you can see, this basil here is dried basil, but most of the other stuff is still doing okay. Let's help them out. As is to be expected, some of these soils in the pots became a little dry, so some of the pots are going to go in the sink to soak a little bit, one at a time, because they're just not accepting water the way they should be. But that's okay. We'll get them back. We'll get them back, most of them. Hey guys, it's Monday, April 20th. The weekend was pretty busy for me, mostly with working, so I haven't done much of anything else. I think most of this week will be spent trying to dig out from the long to-do list that I now have, but for today, it's really all about the basics. I threw in a load of laundry that's running right now. Another priority cleaning task is the dishes, and it feels like all of this past month I've been playing catch up with everything that's been loaded up in my sink. So anytime I wash some dishes, it seems like I use them up quicker than I can do them again. So I'm always left with some behind. My goal is that by the end of the week, I'll finally be caught up and have an empty sink. It's such an insignificant thing, but I know it's going to make a difference. All right, I got a load of dishes done. I still have some left over. This has been the theme of the month, is having dirty dishes left over. There are even a few things still out on the counter, and I have a coffee mug from this morning. So it's gonna take a little while longer to get everything done, but that's okay. This is absolutely good progress for today. And then finally, today is the day to pay the bills, so I needed to go through that. It's time to work on paying some bills, and frankly, I don't know why this pile is so big. I don't quite remember, maybe last month I didn't actually go through everything and, separate the things for shredding. Maybe that's what's going on here because I don't ever remember a month's mail to be this much. But today's the day that I need to pay my credit card bill, so let's go through this. After I opened all the envelopes, I was actually surprised by how little of that was junk mail. It seems that with the new insurance plan, they're sending me EOBs for every doctor's visit, so I had a bunch of those. I also had some toll bills for traveling out of state, so that needed to be taken care of. It just seemed like there were a lot of bills to pay this month. And even though the only bill that is actually important is the credit card bill, and I did take care of that, of course, I also had a few bills that I didn't feel like working on right now. I thought maybe I'll put off till next month or later in the week, but I am very proud of myself and happy to report that I did make myself go through them and pay them. And one of them was a doozy because I needed to dispute some charges, and I even did that. So ultimately in my bill folder, the only things I have left is the one bill on which I'm disputing some charges because I need to follow up or wait to hear back on that. And another one, which is a registration renewal for one of my vehicles. and I wasn't able to do that because I would need to go out to the car and get my insurance information to put in and stuff like that. And it's not due till the end of June anyway. So that's okay. That's gonna stay in my folder. And hopefully by next month when I'm working on bills again, I'll be able to process that one as well. The bills did take me a little longer than I thought they would, but there was a lot of envelopes, as you can see. This is just the trash envelopes. And there's still more stuff that needs to be shredded as well. And now it's almost 3 o'clock, which means that I have a little bit of time left to eat some late lunch. Then I'll have to walk my mom's dog and then head out to work. So I don't really have time to get anything more done today, but tomorrow's a new day and I will be slowly chipping away at my to-do list every day. Hey guys, it's Wednesday afternoon now. Tuesday was spent running some errands for my mom and working, so I didn't really get to do anything around the house. And today was pretty busy too, but I do have about an hour now before the next task. So I am going to try and make a little bit of a dent in the kitchen. Actually, I am trying to make a commitment to get all the dishes done right now so I can end up with a clean sink and a clear counter for the week. It's going to be the first time in a month. It's actually not too bad right now, as you can see, but I think we're on the last possible day of being able to do everything at once. So without further ado, let's get it done. All right, here we are. All the dishes are done. The sink is finally empty. Like I said, this is the first time in maybe a month. And even the counters are pretty clear. Those 2 bags over there are medications and medical supplies for the cat that passed. So I have to figure out what to do with that. But otherwise, the counter is looking pretty nice. It's not perfect, but it's much better. Now, is the rest of my kitchen terrible? Is the floor dirty? Are there other areas that need to be cleaned? Yes, but that's okay. I am trying to focus on just the basics, the most important things first, but I'll be back for that another day. Hey guys, it's Thursday morning today. I already did some planning for April. I know it's the last week of April, but you gotta start somewhere, and I guess I'm starting on the last week of April. Other than that, I'm putting on my garden shoes because today is a nice day. And I'm going to go meet up with my mom and we're going to work in the garden. There are some things we need to work on in her garden. And there are other things that we need to work on in my backyard too. So today is the day for that. We might also clean up a little bit in the garage if we have the time and energy. But I think that's primarily what today is going to be. A lot of the issue here is these plants in the lawn, which isn't great to begin with, but that's what happens when the dog goes out here. So we're going to try and work on removing some of these big plants. Hey guys, good morning on Friday. I don't know where the week has gone, but I can't believe it's Friday already. Yesterday was spent working in the garden with my mom and then cleaning up in the garage a little bit. And frankly, that took up most of the day. It really seems like from the time that I walk the dog and get back home, which makes it around 10 a.m. to the time that I have to take the dog out again around 3 p.m. Although that's like a 5-hour period and you would think I can get a lot done, somehow that time just flies by. I've actually just come back from walking the dog today and it is just after 10 a.m. I made some breakfast that I'm gonna eat. And I'm gonna work in a notebook here. This is just like a scrap notebook for notes. I need to work through some lists for myself. I wanna figure out what I need to get done today. I also need to work on some finances. So I'm just gonna eat my breakfast and I'm gonna make some notes to set me up for the day. My priorities today are going to be making some phone calls. I need to call the vet's office and inquire about the final bill because that needs to get submitted to insurance. And that is a pretty hefty bill. So thank God for pet insurance. So I wanna submit that as soon as possible, but I think it might need a review or an adjustment. So I definitely need to call the vet. I also need to make a doctor's appointment for myself. So I need to call around and find a doctor that accepts my insurance and then hopefully make an appointment with that doctor. So those are like top priority. But another thing I really want to get done is do some cleaning here, even if it's just my weekly basic stuff, which is doing the dishes, which I have done for the week. So then I have folding and putting away laundry, cleaning the toilet and sink in the bathroom, sweeping throughout the house, watering my plants, which I've done once already this week, so I probably don't need to do that. And I think that's it. Maybe I'm forgetting something. But if I could at least take care of some of those cleaning basics, that would be awesome. And just like that, it's 11 a.m. now and I'm still here on the couch. But I have a pretty good excuse. I have this little guy trying to nap here on my lap, and it's really hard to get up and move him. But I think I'll have to. I really need to start getting stuff done today. Okay, I think I'm free. I am going to start here in the living room because it's gotten pretty bad. I mean, it's as bad as it's always been, I guess. But I at least need to do some sweeping. Look at all this fur under here. It's pretty crazy. This is what happens when you don't sweep for a month. It's been so long since I swept or vacuumed that this is a job for the good old trusty broom. We don't want the vacuum cleaner to break, so let's go. Also, we're at about 18 minutes in so far. All right, and here we are all done. It made a huge difference to sweep the floor and get rid of all of the fur. I mean, there is still some stuff down there. Ideally, it would probably make sense to run the vacuum now and pick up whatever's left over. Actually, what would make the most sense would be to wash the floor right now, but that's just not in the cards. However, I do still have some problem areas, and this is one of them, something I got to work on. And then this one here is another catch-all. And all of this took me about 35 minutes. Normally, while I'm cleaning, I would take breaks between bigger tasks, like right now when I just finished cleaning up and sweeping the living room. But sometimes those breaks can be dangerous because I'll sit down on the couch and start scrolling on my phone or something like that. And before I know it, it's an hour later. I know for some people, the secret is to just not sit down, but I feel like I do need those breaks. I kind of run out of steam. So what I'm going to do today during my breaks is sit down here at the table, not on the couch, and I'm not going to grab my phone unless it is to do some of those phone calls I need to make. But if not, I'm going to work on my planner and or organize the space. I started making a to-do list and things may have gotten a little out of hand. I don't know what I'm getting myself into. I'm clearly feeling a little too ambitious here. Okay, somehow it's after 12 o'clock, but I did make some phone calls to a doctor to see if I can make an appointment. I'm waiting to hear back. I could only leave a message. I guess I'll try again in a little bit. But the logical next step in my cleaning today is going to be continuing with the floor. And for that, I want to work here in the hallway as well as in the kitchen. Okay, the hallway and the kitchen are looking so much better. I don't need a break just yet, so I'm going to move on to my next task, and I'm going to pick a very, very easy one. I am going to go and fold my laundry. This is the current pile of clean laundry. I also have a basket with small stuff, but I've basically been using clothes out of a pile for about 3 weeks, so it's time to change that. Today we're going to fold and put everything away. All right, that's done. Let's put it away. It was a lot, but I think it's only going to take me about 15 minutes altogether. I'm happy to report that the folding and putting away of all the clean laundry is done. This little blanket corner is no longer piled high with everything that was sitting here. And my clean laundry basket is empty. Sweeping the hallway, kitchen, and putting away all of this laundry took me about half an hour, so that's not bad. It might be time for another break. It is a few minutes after 1 p.m. now. I did take a little break, but I also made some phone calls during that break. I called our primary vet. I called our specialist vet regarding the bill. I also called that doctor's office again to see about an appointment. I wasn't able to get anybody on the phone again, so I did make some phone calls. And ultimately, I was able to check some things off on my list. But because my time is starting to run short, I want to finish my cleaning. I am almost done with the sweeping. I just need to sweep in the bedroom and the bathroom. And I think ultimately that's where I'm going to go next, to clean the bathroom. I just want to clean the toilet and sink, obviously sweep the floor. I'm not worried about a deep clean in the bathroom, which it probably needs, let's be honest. But let's get that done. I don't think it should take very long. And then I want to wash my hands and wash some lettuce and maybe make some late lunch. At that point, I'll check in and see how I'm doing on time and what else I can potentially get done. But so far, it's going pretty good. I really hate that it's so hard to get the very last bit of deodorant out. Like, I know there's still some in there, and I know other deodorants you're able to twist out all the way, and this just won't go anywhere anymore. Ugh, so annoying. Such a waste. All right, that's pretty much it on my cleaning tasks for today. Like I said, the next thing I want to do is wash some lettuce so I can prep that for some salads. But before I do that, I need to put away all the clean dishes so I have somewhere to dry the lettuce. All right, we're all switched over from clean dishes to clean lettuce. I'll let this drain and air dry just a little bit before I spin it and store it in the fridge. And hopefully eat it for lunch too. Let's update our list here. I did finish all the sweeping in all the rooms. I did clean the toilet and sink, and I have to say I'm kind of running out of energy because I was starting to get annoyed by every little thing. Things I drop or, things that would come up were really, really annoying. So I know this is probably the end of the cleaning for me. It's Saturday afternoon now, and yesterday I was hoping to get more cleaning tasks done today from my monthly cleaning list. But when I thought about it, what I really needed to catch up on was work. So this morning I did already work a few hours. I then had an appointment with my neighbor mechanic to drop off my car because my brakes are making some squeaking noises and they needed to be changed. I do want to work some more this afternoon into the evening, but because I don't know exactly what time the mechanic will be done with my car, I don't want to get anything started and not be able to finish. So for the next hour to two, I'm going to have some lunch and I'm gonna make myself cozy here on the couch. I did make myself some tea, so I'm going to sit here and enjoy that, enjoy the warm cat that's in my lap, and work in my planner. I do want to catch up on a little bit of journaling. I have my full cozy setup over here and a YouTube video queued up to play in the background. Well, so much for chilling on the couch. I just got a call from my mechanic that there's another part that he needs. So I am literally running out to get the part from the parts store, which closes in 30 minutes. But that's okay. We're going to get it done. My car is going to get completely fixed. I will have great working brakes now. And right after I get my car back, I'll be heading to work. So basically, that does it for the week. I am very happy with everything I was able to get done ultimately. It may not seem like much, but I do feel like I've started catching up a little bit. And hopefully next week will be even better and I'll get even more things done.